Story 1. People who occupy workout machines while watching TikTok videos are effectively blocking others from using the equipment. If you want to train, do so. If not, please move aside. Story 2. People who scream or shout loudly while doing their sets are disruptive. Additionally, those who drop weights from above their heads, regardless of their weight, may damage the equipment or the gym floor. Story 3. People often become confrontational when informed that they are breaking a rule or violating a policy. For example, I witnessed a girl yell at a worker because he told her she couldn't use the Stairmaster while only wearing socks. I also saw a man become upset when he was told he needed to clean the equipment after using it. Both individuals made scenes instead of simply acknowledging the rules and moving on. It often appears that some people intentionally break the rules, waiting to see if anyone will address their behavior. Story 4. Supersetting during peak times, standing directly in front of the dumbbell rack while doing rows, and using a squat rack to perform curls are common mistakes. Story 5. People are doing unusual workouts that occupy a lot of space, especially when they do not require the equipment nearby, such as jumping rope between two benches in front of the dumbbells or doing calisthenics between squat racks. Story 6. When people sit on machines without using them and do not take breaks between sets, they can sit there for about 5 minutes scrolling. Story 7. At my gym, they play the music so loud that I can still hear it through my noise-canceling headphones. At the very least, I enjoy listening to podcasts while getting my steps in before I lift weights. Story 8. Someone is clearly lifting too much weight and the intensity they bring to it. I'm not talking about pushing for a personal record and maybe failing. I'm referring to someone who is painfully obvious in pushing too much weight with no form, no range of motion, and no actual muscle engagement. You know you're kidding yourself just as much as others do. No one in the gym genuinely cares about how much you lift. You're only hindering your growth and potentially injuring yourself. Story 9. People are sitting at the machines without using them, looking at their phones with no intention of using the equipment you might want to use. Story 10. Breathing heavily as I run on the treadmill. I notice someone who smells like marijuana lingering within 20 feet of me. A group of 4 to 6 high school boys stands around a machine, sharing pictures on their phones. The person using the machine I want is still there after I complete 3 sets on 2 other machines and return to it. Story 11. If there is space, someone is standing between the mirror and my squat rack. If it is busy, you obviously get your curls in wherever you can. But come on, if the place is empty, would it be so difficult to slide over 5 feet so I can watch my form? Story 12. People using squat racks or benches to perform exercises that could be done using other machines or stations, such as curls. Story 13. Inconsiderate behaviors. People who do not clean up after themselves. Loud individuals on Bluetooth phones and those singing along to music no one else can hear. Anyone occupying 1 or more spaces while mindlessly scrolling or chatting. Groups of teenagers who are excessively noisy. Individuals creating social media content. People who block doorways or narrow walking paths. Individuals who interrupt me mid-set to ask how much longer I have left. Story 14. I have many pet peeves, but generally, it's people who aren't considerate of others. This often involves not re-racking weights, taking photos of themselves in the locker room with others in the background, and using multiple pieces of equipment during peak times. Story 15. I go to a small gym with limited equipment, typically one of most machines. It frustrates me when people sit on a machine and use their phone for excessively long periods between sets, especially when it's the only one available. I understand taking a rest between sets. I do it too, but I usually rest for 1 to 2 minutes at most, while others may sit on their phones for 10 to 15 minutes. I know we all pay the same membership fee and have equal rights to use the equipment, but it is very frustrating when I could complete my entire workout during their set break. Sometimes, if they are being excessive, I will politely ask how many more sets they have left, and they tend to pick up the pace. However, I do not like to do this unless necessary. Story 16. When someone has been sitting for 15 minutes on the only bench press, scrolling through Reddit and Instagram without doing a single set, I see you, Kevin. Story 17. When I'm using the equipment at the gym and someone comes over to give me advice, I have 2 black belt instructors I pay for guidance. I don't want my workout interrupted. If I'm doing something a certain way, there's probably a reason. For example, I don't need you to tell me how to get more power in my kicks. I'm just warming up. Additionally, loud weight dropping is disruptive. Half the time I have my headphones in, and then suddenly, the sound scares me. Story 18. My friend and I had to spend the little gym time we had reporting this person for being disruptive and taking up machines. Took 3 weeks to resolve the issue. Story 19:1. Wipe the sweat off the machine when you are done. Stop filming. I don't want to be in your picture. Every gym should ban pictures and videos. It's out of control. Story 20. When someone brings a full-sized portable speaker and plays their music instead of using headphones or earphones. Story 21. Stopping me during a workout to ask a question is disruptive. Unless it's related to spotting, please wait until my rest period to ask for a plate. Story 22. Most of the obvious ones are mentioned, but I'll add another. Ego lifting. You can potentially harm yourself and those around you if you don't know what you're doing or if you are using weights well above your capability. We are not just talking about bad form here. I have seen cases where a person takes on an excessive level of weight and clearly needs a spotter due to trembling. It is difficult for others to mind their own business when someone is clearly engaging in something dangerous. Story 23. Weight droppers. People who lift heavy weights and then drop them, creating a loud noise that makes us all jump. Rude. This noise pollution, and I would be happier if it stopped, please. Story 24. The gym I go to has a paneled ceiling, but the benches, which are bolted to the ground, are positioned in such a way that they do not align with the panels. Whenever I bench, I find myself staring at the ceiling tiles, and it disrupts my focus because my instincts want to align with the ceiling instead of my starting position. Story 25. There is a group of 3 older men at my gym who take up space and talk. One uses equipment while the other 2 sit on nearby machines chatting. If you ask them to move, they act like they are doing you a favor by getting off the machine they aren't using. They talk continuously, as if they are the only ones in the entire gym. My wife has been selecting music to listen to in an effort to drown them out, as they are quite annoying. Story 26. There is a girl at my gym who hasn't lost any weight, and she's on FaceTime the entire time she's trying to raise her heart rate. Story 27. 1. Seeing couples being overly affectionate or flirtatious during their workouts. We are in a gym, not a place for that behavior. Take it home. The person who always smells. Yes, we all know that person. The individual who is constantly seeking attention, very loud, always takes off his shirt, and mainly talks to women. Just that obnoxious person. Story 28. Men and women who appear to be intentionally positioning themselves in direct line of sight while performing suggestive or flaunting poses during exercises. Story 29. People are sitting on equipment while scrolling on their phones. Use the equipment and move on. If it's crowded, people are likely waiting for the machine you're currently using. Additionally, in the cardio areas, please, ladies, refrain from having loud conversations with your friends nearby. Story 30. I drop my weights whenever I can and cheer like Ronnie Coleman. I play my own music from a Bluetooth speaker that is only for my gym time. I post on Reddit in between sets and take up the bench. I curl in the squat rack. Story 31. People are using jogging machines and scrolling through TikTok. People are taking pictures in the locker room. Some individuals are occupying the mirrors in the restroom sinks and then acting like I'm in their way while I'm washing my hands. My gym recently had to put up a sign telling people not to bring squirt guns or foam dart blasters. If I get hit by a squirt gun or foam dart while working out, I will confront them. Story 32. Standing in front of me while I was using the mirror, I heard the sound of weights being racked and speakerphones in use. News channels were on the televisions. I love gyms without TVs. Story 33. I use a pendulum squat machine, and as a shorter person, I can just about lift the 20-kilogram weights onto it, as the bar is at forehead height. It's frustrating when people leave 25-kilogram plates on the machine, especially if they leave multiple plates. I'm worried that I'll hurt my back taking them off. There's someone who uses the same machine while I complete my 30-minute circuit. Story 34. My pet peeve is people who jump the line or do not understand the order of a workout circuit. I use the e-gym, and you can begin your circuit at any available machine. Many people will wait in line to start at the first machine, regardless of someone coming from the end and looping back around. There are usually open machines in the middle that they could use without disrupting someone else's circuit. Story 35. People who sit on a machine texting or using their phone do not realize it takes them 5 minutes, while others could have completed several repetitions. Men who shared their experiences in the locker room and around their lockers then step away to shower, returning 10 minutes later. Story 36. It is frustrating when people do not clean machines or benches after using them, leaving them sweaty for the next person. Long phone conversations can also be inconvenient. Story 37. There are plenty of available machines, and someone chooses one right next to me and has a loud telephone conversation while exercising. I know it's not the cinema, but I'm always watching something with headphones and can still hear them. I am sensitive to these things. Thankfully, they usually have far less stamina than I do and leave in a fairly short amount of time. Story 38. Somebody is setting up in a space where they block specific equipment while doing an exercise that can be performed in many other locations. I get so annoyed at the people who place their yoga mats directly in front of the heavy bags in my gym when there are countless other spots they could choose. Story 39. People should return their equipment to its proper location. I dislike when I pick up a weight that is in the wrong place because then I have to put it back and search for the weight I actually wanted. Story 40. The only thing that bothers me at the gym is people not wiping down the equipment when they're done. I have noise-canceling earbuds in on full blast. I don't care if someone is grunting, the music is loud, or someone is slamming weights. Not that they should, I just don't care. I don't go to the gym during peak hours, so if someone wants to use 2 benches, 6 dumbbells, a Smith machine, and some bands for some obscure exercise, then knock yourself out. I'm just spacing out, staring at the wall or my phone, so I don't care if someone is filming gym content for their social media. I can always find another variation or activity to do if someone is taking long breaks on machines. Again, since I don't go during peak hours, this doesn't really bother me. I accept that all of those things could be super annoying, but the only thing that drives me crazy is a sweaty bench from someone who couldn't take 30 seconds to grab a wipe that is 20 feet away and clean their own sweat off the public bench that everyone uses. It gives off an attitude of, I don't put my shopping carts away, or I throw my fast food containers on the side of the highway. Story 41. Someone grabs a machine and just sits on the internet for about 10 minutes between sets. Story 42. When you are working out and the staff suddenly needs to start cleaning the area, it feels like a tactic to make you feel uncomfortable and unwelcome. Story 43. I don't like it when others are at the gym while I'm trying to work out. I'm not saying that's fair, but it really upsets me. The worst is when it's just me and another person at around 2 a.m. and they're using the one machine I need to finish my workout. It makes me feel incredibly frustrated. Story 44. Gyms that have 1 or 2 paper towels and spray bottles throughout the facility for cleaning. I just want to tidy up after my workout. Why is that so difficult? Story 45. Gym influencers with their tripods. People taking selfies in the changing rooms. I'm naked here. Please leave. Story 46. Reading these has made me love my gym even more. I have experienced almost none of these things. And no, I'm not telling you where I go. I don't want any of the negative people you're describing to know where it is. Story 47. Groups who use the gym as a social hangout and take turns for an hour on one machine need to move. People who use the mirror right in front of me while doing preacher curls are already using it. Lastly, people who are using multiple machines should do that at their home gym. Please be considerate if others are in the gym and there's only one of each machine type available. Story 48. Supersetters are trying to monopolize multiple machines, leaving their phones and water bottles on one machine to keep it available for themselves while they use another machine. Story 49. Not re-racking your weights. I have followed people across the gym to tell them to return their weights. Story 50. People standing right in front of you, blocking your view of the mirror, can be frustrating. Today, while doing incline dumbbell work, I was a fair distance away from the rack when a personal trainer and a man began chatting right in front of the weight rack, obstructing my view of my form in a relatively empty gym. Additionally, older men tend to stare for too long. Story 51. If someone sees that I'm doing an exercise that requires a little extra space, like dumbbell flies, and I've moved to the best of my ability out of everyone's way, it is rude when someone comes over and positions their bench so close that I need to move again to avoid hitting them. Story 52. It is not permitted for men to work out without shirts, but women are allowed to wear sports bras and spandex shorts without any issues. Story 53. When people use multiple machines at the same time, they should complete their sets on one machine before moving to the next. Can be very challenging. Story 54. People who use a piece of equipment without truly engaging with it. For example, someone who places their phone and water on a dumbbell bench and then stands beside it while doing curls. Story 55. People who sit on equipment while using their phones should get off, even if they are between sets. Someone is probably waiting for that equipment. Story 56. I have been a fitness trainer for 12 years and a gym enthusiast for over twice that long, and I have one real pet peeve. Young women who sit on a strength machine exercising their thumbs on their phones for 20 minutes while using the actual machine for one set of 12 repetitions. Occasionally, I see men do this, but 80% of the time it is women. In my experience. Story 57. When I am doing the bench press and a staff member comes over and whispers in my ear about how soft and supple my teeth are. Story 58. Sitting on equipment with your phone, taking 15 minutes when it should take no longer than 5. On the flip side, asking someone how long they will be when they have clearly just started using it. Story 59. Using a rag you brought from home to wipe your sweat into a machine is incredibly uncomfortable. Story 60. Get off the machine or bench between sets. Be aware of your surroundings, encourage others to work in, and get off the phone. Story 61. Practically yelling while lifting something that isn't heavy, like grunting while curling 15-pound weights. This isn't an anime where screaming increases your power level. Story 62. I may be wrong about this, but if you are using a machine for 3 sets, please get up between sets and allow someone else to use it while you take a break. Please don't make me ask. Story 63. Women wearing highlighter-colored skin-tight spandex do not want to be looked at in their direction. Story 64. If I am in the middle of a set and you start staring at me for any reason and I notice it, I am going to start making sounds right then and there. This makes both of us uncomfortable. Story 65. One thing I dislike is when people openly complain about body odor. You are in a gym with others who are working hard. Maybe put in a bit of effort and you might smell better. I used to work out with a guy who would get drenched, but not once did I complain. However, others did, and they were usually the ones who weren't trying at all. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.